Well, good morning. I'm Pastor Reverend Dr. Vaughn Hayden, and I'm glad to be your pastor today. Glad to see each of you out this brisk morning. Man, it's good to be here, though. I'll tell you what. I'm glad to be worshiping in the house of the Lord today, because this is my place of respite, my place of peace, as it should be. As I chose the songs, the hymns, the scriptures early in the week, and I'm glad I did, because they're helpful for me today, because it's been a tough week. So many things have been happening in our church and community. Of course, many people, as you've heard, have been sick and hospitalized, and several members, staff have ailments, and several experienced tremendous personal grief and loss. And as you know, as one part of the body suffers, we all suffer with it. And so this morning, as we count every blessing, I love the psalm and the song that talks about through all the struggles, we still can give praise and honor and glory to God. I want to say a prayer before we begin. I know that there's been loss for Bill Bryant's family, Emmett, the grandson. We know that Allison's going to be having her father's funeral today, and glad she's here. So I just want to start with a word of prayer, if you would bow with me for that. Almighty God, we know you are here. We know your Spirit continues to move and touch our hearts. We're grateful and thankful that your love for us transcends all the heartache, the hurt, all the struggles we go through. Your love continues to overflow, to pour down, to rain down, and to fill us. So Lord, fill us this morning with your love. Grant us your peace. Let your mercy overflow, that we can rejoice and be glad in the midst of our pain and struggle. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. And amen. See, with all the things that are going on, sometimes it's hard to address the subject I'm going to talk about, the subject of gratitude. I know we're less than 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, so I thought it'd be easy to choose gratitude. And of course, there's going to be a little different focus on it on Thanksgiving Eve, so you can still come for that, just so you know. Don't want you to think you're exempt now. But gratitude is only possible if we consider it an attitude that keeps us from looking at the negativity, because often in the world with all the struggles, it's easy for us to see the bad things. They kind of pop up easy, and you watch the news, and they don't report the good things, do they? They only report the bad things, so bad things seems to ever be before us. It's even like a student taking a test. You get 95 on a test, you're thinking, that's great. But the first thing the student wants to know is, what did I get wrong? We look for the bad things instead of, look at all these I got right. It's just negativity is always there. So gratitude is an opportunity for us to look, instead of the easy things, the bad things, to look at the good things, to recognize that even though not everything in life is good, there is reason to be grateful. Gratitude does not require that we suspend belief, that we deny reality or ignore circumstances. Instead, gratitude simply asks us to focus differently, to see things different than the world does. In the context I'm going to discuss today, it asks us to focus on the change in our lives because of Jesus Christ. To focus not as the world focuses, as the world is that which has no hope. But we are people who have been redeemed. We are people who have a promise that is yet to be fulfilled. We are people that know that with all the stuff in this world is not all there is. We are connected with the one who has far more, far greater, that we have yet to see. And that is reason to be grateful. I'm not sure I'm speaking to the right people today. Is this a grateful people?
Yes.
See, gratitude in our conception is giving thanks to God for what we have through Jesus Christ. See, today I'm not going to talk about gratitude as the world might talk about it. I'm going to talk about gratitude as the church should talk about it. This is for us today. If you're not part of the church, you can be so before we're done today, so don't worry, you can be included. Okay. We're going to be looking at this through the lens of Paul's letter to the church at Colossae, starting in chapter 3, verse 15. If you have your Bibles, you want to turn there. It says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful." These words offer such tremendous comfort to me. I think at least they have the potential to offer comfort. Let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. Isn't that what we need in the midst of all the struggles I'm talking about, in the midst of all the hurts, the midst of all the things we go through? What we need is peace, because the struggles all tell us that the world is going like this. And Paul says, let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. I'm reminded of Jesus on the sea when the waves were tossing the ship around and the disciples were afraid, and they're like, "Jesus, don't you care that we perish?" And Jesus gets up, and what's he say? "Peace, be still." Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. That's what families need. That's what societies need. That's what the world needs. That's what we need in the midst of all that goes on, to let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts. For Christ has come as the Prince of Peace. He's come to bring us peace. He's come to reconcile the world to himself, to fix what we broke, to offer mercy and forgiveness, not hatred and vengeance. He's come to settle our unruly spirits, to heal our broken hearts, to fix and forgive our sinful choices. And whether we'd like to admit it or not, sometimes the unrest and unsettled is a result of sinful choices we have made that have gotten in the way. Choices that have necessitated Jesus coming to save us. Sometimes I think it's good, because sometimes then when we recognize that we can literally say we need Jesus to save us, because we have gotten into some of these messes ourselves, and we need the salvation that only Jesus can bring. But when we have received that salvation, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. When we have received that salvation, we still have choices. We still need to make decisions each day to let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts. It's the willingness to allow the Holy Spirit to lead us, to follow Jesus as the way instead of following our own way. Our own way is easy. Proverbs says our own way leads to destruction. It's easy, but it's not good. Jesus is the way. It's good, but it's not easy. But that's the way we're supposed to go. As much as this is a personal need and a goal that we should each have in our spiritual lives and daily interactions, we should be heeding the Spirit and allowing peace to reign. If we notice, what Paul is saying in these verses is in a different context than a personal issue. He's really teaching us this is how the church should be. Paul is speaking to the church, to the one body. He said, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. Remember we talked about the one body last week? At least pretend and shake your head. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I remember that. Crap, it's great. I love that. Love that last week's sermon. Yeah. So the peace of Christ is to rule in our hearts, collectively, as we're called together to be instruments of peace. Now, the good news for me about this passage is here at Mount Zion, I believe this is not much of a problem. Now, maybe I'm just optimistic, but since I have been here, this church continues to impress me with the Christ-like spirit. In so many areas, I have seen so many great things from each of you. I have not seen what I've seen in other places, where there's factions that fight over this or that, one thing or another. Now, honestly, I know that I have heard tell of tales that maybe it has happened in this church before. But I haven't seen it since I've been here, hallelujah. That's what I'm here to tell you. Yeah. Let the past be the past, I like to say. So when some issues cause dissension, it is my hope that passages like this influence us, influence the church, and inform us to bring us back together, to help us in moving forward, realizing that we are called as the body of Christ to be at peace and not at war. And know what he says? Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. Oh, hallelujah, I think is what I thought I'd hear. Hallelujah. This, I think, is one of the things the world looks for in a church. What I mean by that is when people are seeking a church to call home, they do not want to walk into a hornet's nest and sit down and say, yeah, this feels right. It's not going to happen. They want to find a place of peace. When they come into a church, they want to find a place where they know they can be comfortable, that they can be at rest and not worry about having to take sides on this issue or that issue, not worry about being on the wrong side of so-and-so. Because those things only cause ostracization. Thought I'd throw a big word in there. They want to find a place where they can belong as a part of the body that lets the peace of Christ rule in their hearts. I think that's what all of us want when we come to church. We don't want to come to church and be ripped apart when we're here. We want to come here to be put together. And I think that's what this church is. At least to me, it has been a place to be put together, to find peace. And for that, we should be thankful. That's what the scripture says. Thankful. There it is. The word I offer to you is what we have to give, our gratitude, our thankfulness, our appreciation for all that God has done for us. And in this context, it is a corporate spirit of gratitude. Thankfulness for the body of Christ. Thankfulness for the peace of God. Thankfulness that we are not in this alone, but that we are woven together with bonds of peace. Bonds of peace, hallelujah. As we talk about the struggles day to day, the worst thing about it would be going through it alone. Hallelujah. With the church, that doesn't happen. We're here to lift and care for each other. I hope that each of us individually is thankful for all of us corporately. Let me say that again. I hope that each of us individually is thankful for all of us corporately. Take a look around the room. These are the people you're to be thankful for. Thankful that they're in your life. Thankful that they're here for you and you're here for them. These are people not only you to be thankful for, but you are to be somebody that they can be thankful for. Oh man, this is how it works. Together. Togetherness. This is what it means to be a part of the body of Christ. Immediately before this verse in Colossians, Paul gives more detail as to the nature of the church, and I decided not to get into the whole passage. But there's more reasons that we have to be thankful for. But suffice it to say, the church is not just an afterthought in God's plan. He didn't just bring salvation individually and then said, what am I going to do with everybody? Let's just put them in a building. That was not his plan. The church was always part of it, to be the body of Christ, to be the witness to the world. It's part of God's wonderful plan so that we can live in community and never have to go through anything alone. Paul continues to explain this in verse 16. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom, and as you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. We can see the corporate nature of this verse as it exudes community, exudes interactions and engagements with each other. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another. It almost sounds as if he's describing a worship service. Did you see that in there? I mean, there's songs, there's singing to God with gratitude, there's hymns, there's scripture reading, there's trying to let the message of Christ dwell. I mean, maybe it's a worship service if we do it right. That's what I'm saying. That's kind of what it's supposed to be, right? Letting Christ dwell among us. And if that isn't worship, then I think we're doing it wrong. So unless you think this is simply a Pollyanna, kumbaya concept, notice the words Paul uses regarding letting the message of Christ dwell among us. See, I don't want you to think it's all just sunshine and roses. He admits that, that there is some admonishment going on. He says, he does not suppose that everybody already knows the message of Christ. He said that, let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish. He does not suppose that everyone has their own understanding, and that's fine, because it is not fine. The Bible, the truth of God, is not something we come up with. It's not something we design and say, yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea for God. We'll go with that. It's not our own design. We have to teach each other what's the truth of Scripture, the truth of God's plan. Because we couldn't come up with anything better anyway. We wouldn't know how. Our thoughts are not His thoughts are way above ours. But so it's clear that we're to teach and admonish each other using wisdom from Scripture, using the Holy Spirit. Remember, as I said in previous sermons, the New Testament was not fully formed and written at this point, and so they didn't have, to turn to the gospel, so to say, but they could still see Jesus in the Psalms. They could still hear Him in some of their songs they'd written. They still could tell testimonies about Him. They knew the stories because they were true. And there were still truths to be known about Jesus. And notice it's not simply teach as though we're conveying knowledge, but admonishment, of course, means correcting falsities, keeping everyone aligned to the truth, helping all be unified in what Jesus truly did and what it truly means. The message of Christ is not our design. It's the reality of His life, the reality of His death, and the reality of His resurrection, and what that means for life here and in the future. It's the core convictions that should dwell in our hearts richly, causing us to sing with gratitude. This is our joyful song of praise. One of the best parts to me about this verse is that Paul is telling the church that all this verse says, is the responsibility of the church. Everyone is to teach, admonish, speak words of wisdom, sing with gratitude. Not just for some to sing with gratitude. It's not just for some to admonish, to hold each other's feet to the fire. It's not for some to teach. He's telling the whole church, because he just said in the previous verse, as members of the body of Christ, this is for everyone to do. I remember the day I first found a church family. I was still in my freshman year at Drexel, because y'all remember, with my freshman year at Drexel, I got saved, hallelujah. 18 years old, when all my friends were doing the exact opposite, running away from church. I was running to it, hallelujah. Not because of me, because of Jesus, but I'd been saved in October, had yet to find a church home. Of course, I didn't go home very often, but when I went home, I asked my mom to go with me to this church of the denomination that I'd grown up in, because I did grow up in church, but we know that story. And my mom said, well, you can go, but I'm not going to go. Well, I went to that church for about a month, and I found that the people there were not very friendly. After attending for over a month, they still hardly noticed I was there. Every week, they looked at me like I was a stranger in a strange place. And honestly, I felt like that. A stranger in a strange place. No one knew my name. No one even recognized that I had been there the last 3 weeks before. But I still kept begging my mother to go, so at least I'd have somebody I knew sit with me. But my mom said, you know what? I'll go with you if you go to this church right down the street. It's a quarter mile down the street. It was a denomination that I hadn't gone before, and I thought, I don't know if I want to go there, but if you'll go with me, Mom, I'll go wherever you want, because she hadn't been to church since the day, one time, since the day she was divorced. Been about 4 years. She hadn't been to church. And I said, if you go to church with me, I'll go any church you want to go. And so we went. And as the service ended, before I could even make my skedaddle out the back, which you know that's what guests usually like to do, right? Before I could even do that, the people in front of me stood up, turned around, extended their hands, and welcomed us. They told us their name and said the simplest thing that made the biggest impact on me. They turned around and said, I'm glad you're here. Well, that sounds simple, doesn't it? But after going to a church for 4 weeks and nobody even noticed I was there, to think that somebody was glad I was there, that told me, hey, maybe they care about me. Maybe I matter. Maybe, just maybe, I'm noticed. I went to that church for almost 10 years. The pastor, I'm sure, would have told me the same thing as I was going out. He probably did. I'm glad you're here. But what meant so much to me and my mother was that it wasn't the pastor. It was somebody just sitting in the congregation that took time to think, I'm glad they're here. Those people came to be some of my best friends. One of them is a preacher now. He was a young kid at the time. I taught him in Sunday school. I'm proud of that. But I learned so much going to that church because they cared for me. They didn't talk long. At that point, they just said hello and to let us know we're noticed. And we found it to be a welcoming place where we could be encouraged and be at peace. And we were thankful. Paul continues to explain in simplest terms the duty of each of us as Christians who are a part of the body in verse 17. And this is the last verse we're going to talk about today. It says, whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Whatever we do, how we say, what we say, how we act, it's always in the name of the Lord Jesus. Sometimes we like to think we could maybe take the name of Jesus off of it, but we can't. As Christians, we have Christ right in our name. People notice us as Christians, and we need to recognize that everything we do in the name of Jesus. We are always members of the body of Christ. We are not sometimes members of the body of Christ. We are always Christians because we've been saved through Jesus Christ. We're not sometimes Christians when it's convenient or comfortable. So what we say, how we act, where we go, what we do is always a reflection of the life that Jesus has given us. And we are reflections of Jesus. So we're to do it all in the name of Jesus, all in his power, all with his recognition. And then the word that we have been focusing on comes again when he says we are to be giving thanks to God the Father through him. See, there's so many things that we can do, so many ways we can reach out, so many things we can say, and we should, to glorify God, to lift him up. But we do it all giving thanks to God the Father through Jesus Christ. Gratitude. What have I to give? Gratitude. These verses and all three of these verses, you notice, include gratitude or thankfulness. As we consider the church, we consider our place in it, there's reason to give thanks. Life is filled with so much stuff. So much heartache, so much negativity, so much hardness and trials, as well as so much joy and celebration. I didn't mention the fact that this week I also got to celebrate my son's 18th birthday. So among all the other stuff that can drag us down, there's still joys. There's still things that happen. There's still good things. Because life was filled with all of that. But regardless, we are to give thanks through the good and the bad. Because Jesus is Lord through the good and the bad. Jesus saves us through the good and the bad. And we can give thanks to God that with all the things we go through, we don't have to go through any of it alone because we are members of the body of Christ, and that is reason to be thankful. I want to tell you today, if you are struggling with something and you think you're alone, let us know because you're not alone. We want to be here for you. We want to pray with you. We want to walk with you. We want to be the body of Christ. That's what we're called to be. That's who we are. We want to help you, to give God gratitude. So this morning, the message is simply this. Give God your gratitude. Thank Him for Jesus. Thank Him for the church. Thank Him for your friends, your mentors, your teachers that are here. And if you're new here and do not have any friends yet, thank God He has brought you to a place of peace where the peace of Christ can rule in your hearts. And as we look forward to welcoming you and building those relationships with you through Jesus Christ, let us all take up the task of encouraging, of teaching, of using spiritual wisdom and singing, of together doing our part as a member of the body of Christ. This is not a spectator sport. This is a welcoming community. Let's reveal the truth of Jesus Christ to the world as we say and we mean, you are welcome here. Amen. Let's pray. Dear Lord Jesus, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Counting every blessings, naming them one by one. It takes so long, and yet, Lord, we're just so grateful. We could never find the depths of your love. It continues through all the stuff in our lives. You continue to love us. You pour out grace and mercy. Help us, Lord, to show our gratitude to you. Help us to recognize the gift you have given of spiritual gifts, but also the gift of the church. Help us to recognize how much of a blessing each one around us is as you are working in them to help and encourage us. Help us, Lord, to be that blessing to others. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.